Hey, good people, how you doing? David Taub here, co-creator, nextlevelguitar.com. Hope all's going well, and hope your guitar journeys are going famously. Hope you're enjoying those guitars and honing your skills, refining your art, and enjoying playing and creating music, right? And I have another FAQ video for you today, and this is where we answer email questions, YouTube questions, viewer questions. And let me tell you, man, the questions continue to come in, and they are so awesome, and I so appreciate everyone participating in this. And if you subscribe to the channel, that's awesome too. Like, share the video. Subscribing really helps us to keep the content coming, and we will keep the dialogue going. If you have questions, please, you can put them in the YouTube description box below, or if you feel more comfortable, email them to me. Just put "question for David" in the subject line of the email and email it to me at thenextlevelguitar@yahoo.com. And stay tuned, because in the end of the video, we're going to give away another Next Level Guitar t-shirt. Right? Check it out, right? We got double-sided. Question is from Speedbird. His name might be Felix. I'm not sure of that, and if I don't have that right, my apologies. But he wants to know, "Hello, David. Thank you for the lessons and free videos. My question is, why aren't acoustic guitars with a whammy bar popular?" I like your thinking, right? Something creative and different. Acoustic guitars with a whammy bar. Well, I have found some acoustic guitars with whammy bars online, and I'll flash some pictures of them. Why aren't they really popular? I think for a couple reasons. One is that you have to remember, with acoustic guitars, the sound is mainly coming from the top of that guitar because it's vibrating, right? And that's the sound when the strings are vibrating, the top's vibrating, and then it goes into the sound hole and it's bouncing around and comes out with that lush, beautiful acoustic sound. So if you compromise that top by cutting a hole in it in order to fix a tremolo system, it's going to really, take away from the sound. As well as you're going to have a big, bulky tremolo system on a very thin piece of wood that you're going to be wanking back and forth, no pun intended, right? As you work that tremolo arm. So there might be stability issues, there might also, like I say, be tone issues, but there are some acoustic guitars out there that have them and whatnot. It's an interesting idea, but I think acoustics, for the most part, you want to have that lush kind of acoustic tone, right, from that sound bouncing around. And if it's compromised a lot by adding something like a whammy bar to it, that's kind of cutting into it. But, if that's your thing, why not? Go for it, right? I mean, that's what it's all about, being creative and experimenting. Here's a question from Keith J. from Western Australia. What's up, Keith? Greetings from the USA. Thanks for sending in your question. Keith asks, at what age did you start playing guitar? Did you feel like you were born with any natural or innate ability that made you progress easier? I can't help but notice the increasing number of child prodigies showing up on YouTube these days. It seems more and more kids are showing insane talent on the guitar, well beyond what is proportionate for their age. Have you noticed this phenomena? What do you make of it? Can you explain it? Cheers. Yeah, Keith, I have noticed that. By the way, I started playing guitar. The first time I picked up the guitar was probably in the 6th grade. And then I got more and more into it, and then I just became obsessed with it and started, practicing ridiculous amounts of time. Probably too much, so missed out on some other things, but that's okay. It is what it is. But then got serious, like really serious with it a little bit later on. Yeah, these child prodigies, I mean, they've come up all over. It's pretty amazing, the stuff that people are doing now. I think it's attributable to a few things. First of all, obviously the internet, right? The whole planet is wired together now. I'm sure there was tons of child phenoms before, but we didn't get to see as many of them, right? Before the internet. And obviously YouTube, for one, or any video platform, has really expanded it, because now you can load stuff up and see all these people and their insane talent. It's pretty amazing. I mean, if you really think about it, especially on instruments beside guitar, like piano, strings, violin. I mean, even now it's like, you see 10-year-olds playing these Chopin etudes that, in the past, people only like adult age were able to play, right? So it's almost like a race now. It's almost like these records are made to be broken, and kids are striving to get there faster. As well as there's so much more learning choices available now with the internet, right? Because you could just dial stuff up now and have all kinds of lessons how to do anything, tons of them at your fingertips, right? It was harder before, as far as, it was more, books. It was more going to private lessons, right? Now, you know, again, with the internet, you know, it makes it so much easier to put your finger on learning materials and to study. Again, you know, this planet being wired together and having that internet, I think it really, really, you know, was a game changer. You also asked about, did I think I had any innate abilities that enabled me to progress faster? I don't think so. I really don't. You know, for me, it was a lot of hard work, and I struggled a lot. There were certain things about guitar I really struggled with. I struggled with bar chords. I struggled with timing and rhythm. I struggled with strumming, you know, like most people I think do. So I don't think I had any innate abilities. For me, it was more about putting in the work. You know, I just really, really was driven, super driven. I'm a driven person, and I was super, super, you know, set my mind to, I'm gonna, you know, play guitar, and I'm going to try and be the best I can be. I want to be really, really good, and maybe someday I could do it for a living, and I'm very blessed that I'm able to, you know. It's very special, and I'm thankful every day for that. But I don't think I had any innate abilities. I think, you know, just about anybody can do it, can do what I do. It's just a matter of really working hard, setting goals, and going out and achieving them, right? Like in life or music or whatever, is setting those goals and going out and achieving them. John F. asks, "Hi David, I am 69 years young. Back in the band days, played bass, took 40 years off, got a Martin DR Centennial a few years ago. Loving playing chords and lead, but wondering if it's a bad thing that I like to play with the thumb over bar chords to accentuate the bass notes with the chords I play and sing most of the time by myself and tune the guitar half step down for ease of playing and singing. Thanks." Good for you, man. Right on. You played bass for so long, and then you got back into it. You're playing guitar. Sounds like you're loving it. And is it a bad idea to put your thumb over the top to get those bass notes? No. If you don't know what he's talking about, a lot of guys have played that way. I mean, just watch Jimi Hendrix, right? And he was very, Stevie Ray Vaughan, another guy who would do that a lot. What he's talking about is, instead of playing, for instance, like a traditional bar chord with your thumb in back of the neck, first finger barred, what some players do is they move that bar down and they use their thumb to fret the low bass note, right? So it's a little different style. It kind of pulls your wrist up. If you're not used to it, it's certainly different. And you don't have to do that with chords. You could do that with, you know, with notes you're playing. And it frees up your fingers because now your thumb is also in on the action of fretting notes. So is it a bad idea? Not at all. I think that's the great thing about guitar, is there's so many different ways to go about it. There's so many different ways to make music. You want to make it your own and create your own style. And if that means doing something differently, fine. The only thing I would say is, if you're doing it and for some reason it's causing some pain somewhere, maybe you might want to look at that and then kind of adjust it, because you really don't want to be playing and putting your arm in a way that's causing pain or bad technique or something like that. But if that's the way you're doing it and you're enjoying it, great. Same thing with tuning the guitar down. You know, a lot of people, a lot of bands tune down, use different alternate tunings, different tunings, and it's very popular to tune down just to E flat. That extra half step when you're singing makes a big deal. So keep being creative and go for it. Question from Rick from Serviaville, Tennessee. I hope I said that city right. If not, my apologies, Rick. Rick wants to know, David, enjoy your videos and insight on learning the fundamentals of playing. The question I have for you is, what's the best way to learn string bending? I seem to get my fingers caught up in the other strings, so when I release the bend, I get some sound from other strings too. This is a weakness of mine that I would like to correct and get better at string bending. Rick, that's a very common question that I get about how to reduce the noise on the guitar, because, you know, when you're playing and, you know, whether you're bending the strings or you're playing some notes or going from single notes to double stops and you're going to be hitting these other strings. You're going to be bending into them, and you have to mute out all the strings or else you're going to get this terrible string noise. So you have to employ a two-handed muting technique where you're muting out every note that you are not playing. That's the key. You have to mute out all the notes that you are not playing and sound only the one or ones that you are playing. So basically think of it like this. 6 strings, if you're playing a 6 string, you have to mute out all 6 strings except the 1 string or 2 strings if you're just, you know, playing 1 note or 2 notes. Let's just stick with 1 note. Mute out all the other strings that you're not playing. How do you do that? Well, like you said, you're palm muting, right? You lay the palm of your hand on right on the guitar, right on the strings. And that mutes out, you know, most of the lower strings, right? Depending on where you want to play. Right on the bridge, right on the strings, okay? So that's what we'll use to mute out the lower strings. And then the higher strings I mute with my first finger by always having it laying flat on a little bit of an angle, right? So if you watch me play a little bit, right? For instance, I'm vibratoing this note. But if you notice, this first finger is muting all the high strings. I only want to ring out the G string. Right? That's the only note I want to hear. So I'm muting the higher strings with this first finger and all the lower strings with the palm. So watch a little bit as I play, and you'll never see this first finger come off the strings. It's always muting. It's always just lightly. I'm not pressing down, fretting any notes, just lightly touching the strings to mute those high strings while this mutes the low strings. The two hands work in combination. I'll play a little bit, notice. So in that example, I wanted to do a lot of different techniques. I was playing a little bit aggressive. I was bending strings, half steps, whole steps, hitting into other strings, big wide vibrato. I was sliding on the neck because I wanted you to hear the cleanliness of the playing. I was descending down the strings. I changed pickups even. I did some faster legato stuff with some stops. So again, you could hear that technique all during every bit of that. I was using two-handed string muting. I'm not thinking about it. It's just built into my playing, and it will be built into yours too. You just have to practice it to where it becomes automatic. My first finger is just kind of sliding on the strings, muting them. And my fret hand, my pick hand, never leaves. I don't come off. So this is something that has to be developed over time, and it feels very weird at first. But if you practice it, eventually it becomes automatic and becomes built into your technique. So what you could do at first is just practice it with like your basic finger exercises. Like if you do a 1, 2, 3, 4 pattern, take it up all the strings. You don't have to go fast because you just want to basically listen for cleanliness. And the hammers. But it's forcing to mute the strings. So if you just keep practicing that, practice it with your scales. Right? And eventually you will get it. And like I said, you have to give it some time because this is going to feel very foreign at first, but it's something you have to do. I have an extensive lesson with close-ups on this two-handed muting technique on my website at nextlevelguitar.com. All right, if you're not a site member, that's fine. There's a 3-day pass on the homepage. So just grab the 3-day pass. We don't ask for a credit card or anything. Just sign up. We send you a username and password. It's totally free. I'll put a link to where that lesson is specifically on the site. I'll put a link to it below. So check out that lesson because it gets into more of the technique and again, a lot of the close-ups, and that's what you really have to do to get rid of all this string noise. And hey, if you'd like a free video lesson to kind of help you along in your lead guitar journey where I go over some scales and some tons of easy techniques that you can incorporate into your playing, maybe bring a little spice into your guitar playing, right? Kind of change things up a bit. Click on that link below. I'll send you a free video lesson and I'll send you my killer blues rock ebook where I go over all kinds of scales. There's tons and tons of scale diagrams, soloing strategies, lessons. It's a killer reference guide you'll use throughout your guitar journey. I'll send it to you for free. Just click on that link below. Cordell asks, what was it like when you finally attained a noticeable measure of speed and control? I gotta know what it could be like. All I do is practice the caged patterns up and down with a metronome. Thanks. Well, first of all, there's lots and lots more that you could be doing than just practicing some patterns with a metronome, right? All kinds of things. Why don't you drop me an email and tell me where you're at on the guitar, what you can and can't do, and your goals, and maybe we can go over some things that can work to help get you there. Tons of things that you should be doing, way more than just practicing a few patterns, right? But I get it. Sometimes, there's so much information out there. it's good and then it's bad because we become overloaded and we skip on things and we don't know what to practice or how. So, drop me an email, I can help you. As far as what was it like when I attained a noticeable measure of speed and control, I thought about that and I can't really place my finger on exactly when that was, but I do remember that feeling of getting to a certain point and getting over it, and really having certain technique or certain something dialed in and being proficient at it. And I'll tell you, it feels pretty good. It feels pretty good to be able to hear what's up here musically or what's in here and be able to put it into this, right? And get it on guitar and get it to sound the way you want to. So it's a process, it's an evolution, and you can get there. It just takes time, hard work, patience, some of the things that I constantly preach to my students, right? But it is a pretty amazing feeling. I mean, I'm still not there. I'm learning new things every day. You can't learn less. I mean, I've been playing guitar 30 years. I'm still finding new ways to bend strings, right? It's incredible what you could do on this instrument. It's incredible. You could pick up an instrument, play a series of notes or chords or in a melody that no one's ever done before and create this incredible original thing. It's amazing. I love it. And I can help you get to your goals too. So drop me an email and I hope that answered your question. Thanks for writing in. Question from Ed A. Ed asks, David, I have an old beginner's guitar. I am thinking of buying a better guitar than I am a player. I am looking at a Takamine priced around $1,800. Should I go cheaper? I am teaching myself at this point. What do you think? Thank you, Ed. Ed, believe it or not, I get that question a lot, where a lot of people are thinking about buying a more expensive guitar. My answer to that would depend on a couple things. First of all, can you afford the guitar? Or is it really a stretch? Secondly, are you really going to keep with it? Because you don't want to make that kind of investment until you're pretty well, into the process of learning, and that you understand that this is something I'm gonna do for life. And most people, when they first learn to play guitar, if they can get over the initial hump, to get over that initial, wow, I got these hurt my fingers, or I can't seem to get my fingers bent to make these chords. When they get over the physics of the instrument, they start to really enjoy it. Then they're hooked. It's infectious and it's going to bring you joy for the rest of your life. That said, something that's going to bring you joy the rest of your life, if you have the money, why not? I think it's really, really cool if you can afford a really nice, great sounding acoustic guitar, because first of all, it's going to age over time and sound better and better and better. And if you have a really nice acoustic that you're going to keep the rest of your life, or maybe you'll even trade that one up eventually, that's something that you could hand down. That's something, it's like a fine piece of furniture. It's a work of art. You can, hand that down to one of your children or a niece or a nephew or someone else that plays, right? It's just going to be more and more beautiful over time. So I say go for it. I think it's great if you can have a really nice acoustic. That being said, where do you draw the line? Because you can get an acoustic $4,000, $5,000, $6,000. It's, it's kind of hard to justify spending that much money, at least for me. If you're super rich and have tons of money, fine, that's great. But, remember, you can always, if you want to get a $1,500, $1,800 acoustic, that's something where you can play it and enjoy it. And then down the road, higher end acoustics seem to hold their value fairly well. You can always sell it and get something else, right? So as your playing evolves, you can always, reassess. Is this something I want to keep? Do I want to sell it? Do I want to go to the next one? Or do I love this one? I'll always have it. Once you start getting into the $1,500 range on acoustic guitars, $1,800, that make it very special. Like it has, obviously it'll have a solid top, but it's going to have a solid back and solid sides, not laminates. That's important because it goes into the tone. It really is going to sound beautiful. And you start getting into instruments that are made really, really well. They could take the tension of that neck, the strings pulling really well. They might have beautiful those sound hole rosettes on them, or special fret markers, and the jewelry, which is kind of nice. Might have a special binding or use exotic woods, and all built into the aesthetics of the instrument, making, it's a work of art. A guitar is a work of art, in my opinion. So, if you're passionate about the instrument and you love it and you're going to be doing it and you're sure, why, if you have the money, why not? It's an investment that will pay itself back over and over and over in sheer enjoyment. Look at how many years and years and years of playing it you're going to get, and how much enjoyment that's going to bring you. I mean, that's invaluable. So why not? If you have the money, go for it and enjoy. And let me know what you decide on. Send us a picture. We'd love to see it. We'll share it in another FAQ video. John B asks, really love the lessons, David. Both you and Dave Nassy are favorites. Right now I'm in the middle of your chord magic course. Bar chords weren't bad. Triads have been tough for me. Not sure why. Have a couple questions. Who was the other co-creator of Next Level Guitar? Was it Marty S? As I see his name on some things, and he's on his own now. Also, you always wear a hat. Wondered why. Just a trademark. Yes, I'm the co-creator of Next Level Guitar. The other co-creator is Tim Gilberg. Tim and I started Next Level Guitar together. The story started back in 2005. He was a former private student of mine. He would come for lessons, and then one day he just said, and again, this is back in 2005, hey, can I video part of the lesson? We'll put it online, see what happens. We did that, and then back then, you got to remember, you know, this is kind of before YouTube was really even anything, and the biggest, we put it, I think, on Google Video, or maybe it was Yahoo Video, I forget, but those were the biggest video platforms at the time. MetaCafe was a big one back then too. We put it up there, and in like 4 weeks it had thousands of views, and we're like, hey, you know, maybe we could do something with this. And back then there wasn't that many people putting any kind of lessons online. Video learning was really in its infancy, and we created an online learning curriculum that we started back in 2005, and that we're still going strong today. You know, what is it, 15 years later. You asked about Marty. Marty used to work for us at Next Level Guitar. He saw me at an event that I was at, and he reached out to me, and he's like, hey, saw your videos, really like them, you know, I'd be interested in maybe doing some lessons. So we met up, and he did a bunches of lessons for us, I think back in like 2008 and 2009. So he was one of our instructors that we used to do lessons, and then he went out and did his own thing, and he's doing his own thing. What was your other question? Oh, about the hat. You know, the first time he filmed me, I was wearing a hat, and then, yeah, it just got to be like kind of a trademark, and then everyone started saying, hey, go check this guy out, look for him on YouTube, or look for him on this video platform or this. He's the guy with the black baseball hat on backwards. So that's kind of became like a trademark. So now, you know, I'll wear that, or I'll mix it up, wear a beanie, something like that. So yeah, I like hats, I like beanies, and it is kind of a trademark. So thank you for your questions. Darren H. asked the question, what's your favorite course with the most learning material? You know, I've produced so many courses, both, you know, DVD courses, now obviously digital download courses, and I love them all. I think they all have value. As far as what has the most learning material, so you're talking about the bigger courses, I'll list out a few, and I'll put links to them below in the YouTube description box. So if you want to click on those links, you could watch a video preview, you could read all about it. I'd say my Modern Blues Masters course, and that's where we go over, we picked 16 of the most epic guitar players of all times. Guys like David Gilmour, Jimi Hendrix, Eric Clapton, Joe Bonamassa, Warren Hayes, Gary Moore, Billy Gibbons, Santana, Slash. We picked 16 of these epic players, and then we dig deep. We do like between 30 and 60 minutes on each player, talk about the gear they use. Then we go into the scales that they like, the devices that they, you know, like to use, all about, you know, their playing style. And it's a deep dive into each player, and so it's a very big course. And then we apply that over jam tracks. You get the jam tracks also in the course, the video lessons, you get an ebook. So it's a very big course, has a lot of content. And that's a good course if you know, want to look at all the styles of these different players and kind of maybe, you know, take some of those styles and make them your own. If you want to learn more about beginner lead guitar, my 180 beginner blues licks and jams is a great course. That has hours and hours of lessons where we show you how to build licks from scales. We show you how to use them, phrase them together. That has a ton of lessons. Again, also the jam tracks, you get the same ones that we use in the lessons. If you're a little bit more intermediate level, the next bump up from that would be the head turning licks and jams. All about, you know, learning to jam, taking licks, making them sound musical, putting them into your playing, jamming over tracks. Big course, tons of lessons. And then if you're more acoustic player or more of a beginner guitarist, my Chord Magic course. And that's a great course because I show you how to take the things and start making them sound musical, right? How to start moving around the neck with chords, getting you out of first position. And all along the way, we work on your strumming, your rhythm, your timing, learning about triads, taking chords and doing interesting things with them. Chord changing, that's a great set too. Tons of hours, I think that's over 6 hours of video lessons. And I have most of these courses, I have these on both. If you like DVDs still, I have them on DVD, but I also have them as instant digital downloads. So I'll put those links below if you want to check them out. Email me any questions, but those are the ones, the biggest ones with the most learning material. All right, it's time to give away a Next Level Guitar t-shirt to one of you who asked a question in this session of our Next Level Guitar video question and answer. And the winner this time is Cordell D. Cordell asked the question about what was it like when you finally attained a noticeable measure of speed and control. He said he's got to know what it could be like. It's a good feeling, Cordell, and you could get there too. So stay tuned, and I will drop you an email, get your shipping address, and we'll get you a t-shirt and some Next Level Guitar swag. I want to thank you all once again for sending in your questions. They are awesome. Had a lot of fun. Hope you enjoyed this. Please remember to subscribe to the channel. Subscribing really helps us to keep bringing the content. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. Leave your comments below. Let us know what you'd like to see in coming lessons. Let us know what gear you'd like to see reviewed. Get your questions in. Put question for David in the subject line and email it to us at thenextlevelguitar@yahoo.com. And if you want a video lesson on some killer soloing techniques, right, paired with a killer ebook with tons and tons of scale diagrams and lessons and soloing strategies, click that link below. Send it to you for free. Thank you so much for your support and for watching our videos and for purchasing our products over the years and years and years. You guys and gals rock. Stay tuned. Lots more lessons and content and FAQ videos coming. Keep the questions coming. I'm David Taub, co-creator of Next Level Guitar. You're the good people. Take care, and remember, your guitar playing is an evolution. Rock out.